All right. Hi, guys. Welcome to Drop the Needle with Saph. Today's album will be Chip Chrome and the Monotones by The Neighbourhood. So, this album means a lot to me. It was released September 25th, 2020, and that was about a month before a very big life-changing event happened to me. And I had been a The Neighbourhood fan since Sweater Weather dropped. And so I remember staying up for the music video of Flavored that was released in August. And I remember staying up for that music video at my grandparents' house and just being so excited for, yay, new The Neighborhood content. And I loved the song Cherry Flavored, which was the first single for the album. And I was very excited for the release of the album, and I listened to it on repeat when it came out, and then again when the deluxe version came out. So this album means a lot to me, so it's only right that this would be the first album that I go over for my podcast. So thank you so much if you're listening. Let's get started. All right, so let's get into it. For those of y'all listening, this is kind of a passion project for me. And this is, I've been so passionate about music my entire life. And I find myself just putting on music with people I love and just sitting there and like basically lecturing them over this, and this is so cool, and this is so cool, and I love this, and this in the production works well with this, and this was definitely intentional and all that kind of stuff. And I thought that, okay, maybe I should just go ahead and start a podcast so I can just talk about things that I love. And if you happen to be listening and just loved music, then cool. We can talk about music together. So these are albums that mean a lot to me specifically and have shaped me and my music taste. And a lot of these are my opinions, about how good the albums are. I do go over reviews for just what the general public liked about the album with each album I'm reviewing. But this is mainly for me. So yeah, let's get into it. This is Chip Chrome and the Monotones. This was released September 25th of 2020. Its genre is alternative indie. And so some context behind this album is it was mid-pandemic. So this is September 2020, and March is when we got into quarantine. So mid-pandemic, it was an election year. And even though I'm going over the regular album, not the deluxe, they do address the election in the deluxe version, surprisingly, with the song Here We Go Again. Love that song. I feel like it was a very tasteful way to speak on what was happening in our country, not just the quarantine, but just like politically. So I was watching, more context behind the album, I was watching the Genius video for the song Devil's Advocate, and it was just Jesse, which is the lead singer of The Neighborhood. It was just him talking about like going over the lyrics, and he was saying that for this album that him and the band were able to just become friends again. He was saying that even though they were friends forever, and he was like, but I got locked in a contract with them, and for a while it just felt like work. And he was saying that during this album, because of COVID, they were able to just like hang out and just be friends again, and just be like, hey, do you want to just go ahead and work on the song, and then not being like, we have to get the song done. So which is really cool to me, because when this album came out and I heard Chip Chrome in the Monotones, I was very much like, oh no, like Jesse's getting big-headed and he wants to be the front man, whatever. But I love this album so much. So let's get into the production and lyrics. So I'm gonna go song by song, and a lot of what I'm describing about the music is according to the Comedian review by Dominic Trabowski. I don't know if I said that correctly, but this is just him describing the music, but I'm gonna go over this as well as my personal opinion and stuff. So let's get into this. So the intro is called Chip Chrome, right? And personally, me, I love a good intro. I feel like the intro should really set the tone for the album. And because this album is like more of like a show, like Chip Chrome and the Monotones, it's just music. It's Dominic describes it as, quote, intro is soaked in nothing but glistening, disorienting synths, end quote. And I feel like this is a really good way to explain it. And it's literally just music. And in my mind, this is like, because in one of the music videos, I can't remember what music video for one of the songs, Chip Chrome like appears from the bottom of the stage, and I feel like that's that moment. And it's just like sparkle. I see it as sparkling, like stars, and just like stars falling down and stuff, because they do have a song called Fallen Star that they actually released about a year or so after this album, and it's still under the Chip Chrome like aesthetic, which was crazy to me. But yes, they start off with the album. It's 30 seconds, and it's just like a do-do-do-do-do-do-do, right? And it's just like, here's the album, here's Chip Chrome. And then we immediately go into Pretty Boy, which I love. I feel like the intro should really be like a set the tone for the album, and then the second song should be like a, all right, here we are, we're in it, let's party. And I feel like they immediately go into a more chill, just soft, slow intro, and it's gorgeous to me. I feel like somebody who does like a sad song for intro and then like hits you with the second one, like, okay, it's time to party, is Billie Eilish. She did that in Happier Than Ever, which is on my list of albums to do because I love that album. She definitely did it with her new album. But I love how Chip Chrome, they decided to go in a more just chill, like laid back, which was a different sound for them because their last album was, it's hard to imagine the Neighborhood ever changing, and that was more going into indie, and obviously before that was Wiped Out, and that was super like way more rock than this album. And so I think it was just like, hey, we're having a new sound, we're more indie alternative now. So Pretty Boy is described as like soft drums, dreamy guitars, a bouncing bass line, and even some subtle strings in the background. The synths in the latter half of the song add a lot to build out the track's serene and calming sound. He's basically saying like, basically, if the world is over, I'm happy that you're gonna be there with me. And I guess this could say a lot with it being COVID, in quarantine. Like we didn't know what was gonna happen. And pop culture mine, this could definitely be obviously about him and Dev, if Jesse was the one who wrote it. And I feel like it's gorgeous. Like the music, the instrumental is so just calm and just it's a little groove, and it's different. That's different for the Neighborhood, because they're usually they're a pop. They're not a pop. They're like a rock alternative band. So it was just like a little groove, and I really like it. I think it's a good intro to the album ish. Okay, so next song is Lost in Translation. So we get a little bit more of a pop-ish vibe from this one. And so this is described as fun, groovy, and extremely danceable track, disco-inspired vibe. Yeah, and the music video is pretty cool too. It's like Chip and the Monotones performing with Dev dancing in all green paint. That didn't age well. And like with them breaking up and all that stuff. It really feels like that this song might have been, like a, hey, we're not communicating very well, what's going on? Like, I've been getting lost in translation, trouble keeping up communication. We were having fun, now I can't wait to be done. And it feels like I'm the only one that's sick of playing. So, yeah, this is just a groove for me. There's some songs later in the album that really just like hit me hard. As far as like the order, personally, the order of this album, I'm not like wow about. With this album, it's mainly just how much it means to me. Musically, I feel like it's just a good vibe. But there's some albums that I am gonna go over that I'm like, oh my gosh, like musically, this is so smart and interesting and incredible. But for this album, this is just an album that just means a lot to me, and that I'm like, I have to do this because it's Chip Chrome and the Monotones. So yeah, so okay, so go on to the next song. It's Devil's Advocate. And so this one, he actually did the Genius interview. This article, this review that I pulled from, says that this is drums and the extremely catchy guitar riff that run throughout the entire song help keep it driving forward. It's a mid-tempo song that makes you feel like a badass when you listen to it while taking a walk. Electronic bits and sound effects that are sprinkled throughout the song add a lot of atmosphere. And in the Genius interview, Chessie was saying that like Chip is cool and chill, and that's kind of what this song does. It's like, it's not a chill song, but it's very much a, like, you have a little chip on your shoulder when you're walking down the street, which is in the music video. And he's saying everything is effed, so I'm going to play devil's advocate. And which, again, context, this was quarantine. So yeah, of course you would think everything was messed up. But I know in the Genius interview he was talking about like, well, if this is this and this is this, then whatever, screw it, I'm just gonna play devil's advocate, which, you know, makes sense. So yeah, this song, just kind of a vibe for me. Like I said, the order of this album, besides the end song, because like I love me a good intro and a good outro makes the song, or makes the album. So I love the intro of this album, and the outro I will get to, because oh my gosh, that song means so much to me. Which actually, my bad, Cherry Flavored was like not the first single technically, because Middle of Summer came out like a year before the album, and Cherry Flavored was like the promotional single, I guess. So then we get into Hell or High Water. So we've been kind of doing some like, besides Pretty Boy was kind of chill, but Lost in Translation and Devil's Advocate were kind of upbeat songs. We go the opposite. We get into a guitar, and this reviewer said dreary guitars in the background, bare bones in comparison to some of the other tracks on this album. And I love this song. I quoted it for a essay that I wrote my junior year of high school, where we had to pick two songs. We had to pick poetry to put in this essay, and I chose lines from this song, and I chose lines from a Mac Miller song. I'm blanking on the name, but it's the Come Back to Earth or something like that. It's the opening track to Swimming, which best believe Swimming, I am gonna do that album. So yeah, Hell or High Water is this song, and oh my gosh, the lyrics just speak to me. Like I said, this album came out a month before the most life-changing event happened to me, and has affected me all the way up until now. Like, I'm still dealing with it. Like, we just immediately get into it. Just, I went through hell to get to high water, and now I'm trying not to drown. Each time I fail, it makes me try harder. I'll reach the stars next time around. That, like, I wish I could get that tatted on me, not gonna lie. It just really, that, I just remember crying a lot to this song, because just, I was just in the hell. I was, and I was trying to get to high water, and I feel like now I've gotten to high water. But just each time I fail, it makes me try harder. I'll reach the stars next time around. That just gave me hope to just keep going. It'll get better. It will get better. And it did. And now I'm here. This song specifically, because it's the lyrics, there's not many lyrics to it, but there's some good, it's just him and the guitar basically. There's some like dreamy like things added, like plugins, I guess, added to the guitar. But this is a poem to me. And like, this is one of the things, if I could get it tatted on me, I would. Like, I don't like getting words, so I'm like, but I've been wanting a Chip Chrome like tattoo for so long, and honestly I want him with a mic stand and just the guitar, because basically him singing this song and Middle of Somewhere, and like this song itself to me, like just looking at the lyrics, like this, it's a poem to me. It's gorgeous. Anyway, I could talk about the song forever. So let's get into the next song, which is Cherry Flavored. And like I said, I was mistaken earlier. This was probably the first like promotional single technically, because the first song that came out from this album was Middle of Somewhere. I have no idea why they did it like that. I mean, honestly, who cares? We got the album. So Cherry Flavored. Oh my gosh, this song is so cool. Yeah, so that guy that I'm pulling from, like, his review, he says, excellent first single for this album, and it still remains as a highlight. The guitars are once again a highlight on this track. They are, like many of the songs on this album, soaked in the phaser effect with loads of reverb to give it a dreamlike and floaty sound. The song feels like drifting away in a dream. I especially like when the chorus hits and the mix opens up with some electronic drum elements thrown in and some incredible ghost-like background vocals. The acoustic drums are produced very well on the song, and Rutherford's vocals sound great and confident. Very true. Then he talks about the lyrics. He says, lyrically, the song is about slowing down and taking control of one's life, which is a message that a lot of us can relate to as we take the time to reflect during the global pandemic. So he's saying, like, he feels like, he said, I sold my soul a long time ago. I feel like a ghost now. So he feels like just a ghost of himself. But he's saying, like, cherry flavored conversations with you keep me hanging on, which I think is gorgeous. This one is more of just, this album's more just for me. I promise you the other albums I'm going to get more into the music aspect of it. I just have a lot to say about this album, but I have so much to say about other albums, specifically artistically. So I promise we're going to get to some actual music breaking down. All right, so the Monotones it's an interlude. So Chip Chrome had his moment to shine in the intro, and so this one is just like, it's an interlude of the monotone singing. I think it's like Jesse's voice pitched up. And this guy says that the lyrics is just about wanting to shut off from the rest of the world. You know, literally one of the lines is a voice in my head telling me to make a choice. Everyone yelling, making too much noise. I can't hear myself anymore. All right. Boohoo. This one is like, if I'm going to skip a song, it would be this one. But this album is gold to me. Or not gold, but this album just, it's my comfort album. I'm like gonna throw it on for a little bit of nostalgia, but just to look back at where I came from. So yeah, Boohoo. The reviewer says, ditches the guitar-driven, moody, and retro feel that the previous song established and swaps it out for bouncy pop R&B instrumental, complete with synths and vocal effects. So actually, my music taste stems a lot from R&B and hip-hop, and I think that's why I grew to the Neighbourhood, is because they have a lot of R&B elements in their songs. And so like the Neighbourhood is my favorite band, like, of all time. I think I like gravitated towards them because they do have some like R&B influences and like styles in their music, and that's what I really like because I'm an R&B girly. So yeah, Boohoo. So this is kind of, I guess, about COVID too. Like, I've heard what's happening around the world. That's why I'm so down. But we're still together. You're still with me. Right here, right now. Like, everything's gonna be okay because you're right here with me. Knowing what we know now, that they have broken up and they were together for 6 years. A lot of this album is him kind of like, here's them like, sounds like the beginning of the end to me. All right, let's go into the next one. And this is Silver Lining. Oh my gosh, right, guys. Okay, so this song to me is one of my favorites on this album. My top 3 on the just regular album is, like, not in any specific order, is Hell or High Water, Silver Lining, and Middle of Somewhere. And then on the deluxe album would be The Shining. Silver Lining was my alarm sophomore year of high school. So the first 5 seconds, I'm like, oh, I hate it because I heard it every morning. But the rest of it, I'm like, I have to listen to it because it hits me. And you'll know why in a second because of these lyrics. So this guy, you know, that I'm the review, he says, Silver Lining, acoustic drums and reverb soaked guitars that we are used to from the album. Guitars ring out for a while with each long strum and what sounds like muffled marimba, or perhaps that too is a guitar of sorts, creates a great atmosphere for the first verse. Everything slows down and the drums hit hard with the guitars while a solo begins, and that's at the very end. Let's get into Tobacco Sunset, which this is a good song. Oh my gosh, this is a good song. It's a different vibe too. It's gorgeous though. And it does. So I have this thing, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like when you see colors when you listen to music. And dude, this song, it is definitely a sunset. It's gorgeous. It's a sunset on a desert highway. Gorgeous. The colors are just beautiful. So this guy that I'm pulling from, he says, slow burner begins with about 20 seconds of atmosphere and no instruments, spacey melodies. As the song goes on, the track expertly adds in more and more instrumentation to give the song a natural crescendo up until the song's end. Instrumental breaks are so dreamy and beautiful. There's a violin solo enters, and the twinkling piano keys create such a vivid image of the desert and the nighttime. Yeah. Gorgeous. Oh my gosh. And this is my song. Okay, so Middle of Somewhere. This was the first, technically the very first single of the song. It came out a year before the album. And I discovered it like a few months after it dropped. And I was on my way to Tennessee in the dark. And we were driving in the dark, and I had strep throat, but didn't know it at the time. And I was crying because it just hurt to swallow. And I was like, oh, let me see if the Neighbourhood dropped or anything. And I was like, oh my gosh, new song, right? And it's just him and the guitar. It's gorgeous. It's just him and the guitar, and this guy says, simple yet builds on itself as the song progresses. From just Rutherford and a guitar to multiple atmospheric guitars and synths, electronic sounds, and backing vocals. And of course, this is the outro. This is the last song of the album. And I love when an album just ends on a gorgeous note. If you don't listen to the album, listen to this song. And I always think of it in context of the album. So I'm like, the album ends. And I love it. So that's this album. I'm sorry if there wasn't enough like music like talk in this one. I promise you in the next few ones, the albums that I've researched so far have been albums that have just like shaped me as a person. But I promise we're gonna get into some ones that I'm like, oh my god, the music in this is insane. So let me end on the reviews for this album. So the Comedian, I think it's called, rated it a 6.9 out of 10. And then the Daily Utah Chronicle labeled it 4.5 out of 5. And, you know, this album got lost on a lot of people. I knew it because I was just a really big fan of the Neighbourhood, and I still am. But yeah, this album means a lot to me. Thank you so much for listening. I have an Instagram and I have a TikTok. My Instagram is at droptheneedlewithsaph, all lowercase. And the TikTok is at droptheneedlewith, all lowercase. Please flood my DMs with album recommendations or just overall thoughts about the podcast. Always looking for suggestions to improve and what y'all like to hear. Thank you for listening, and this is Drop the Needle with Saph.